Hello, everyone. We are in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles, California. What am I doing in California? Well, we are here at this beautiful home, and we are talking about 5G home. Yes, this is the 5G Internet Gateway, and we're shooting an episode on a TV show about 5G home. Now, the question is, what show am I talking about? Well, I can't tell you just yet, but you can find the answer on Up to Speed. So make sure you tune in on Up to Speed very soon, and we'll tell you about why 5G home is making a big splash on television. We'll see you then. And with that, we say welcome to Up to Speed Live on this Monday, September 27th. Our live guest today is our Chief Administrative Officer and Interim HR Lead, Craig Silliman. We crossed the finish line with Craig, of course, at the Verizon Corporate Classic 5K. That was 2 weekends ago. Craig is back today, live with some very important updates for the entire company. Now, before we welcome Craig, you saw in the opening video my excitement about 5G Home going Hollywood. And when we taped that short clip about a month ago in California, we weren't quite sure exactly when 5G Home would be making that splash on television, but I'm happy to report tonight is the night. Here's a little behind-the-scenes shot of us shooting an episode of Smart Home Nation with host Tanya Memme. This is a new show on A&E's FYI network. The show explores the best state-of-the-art smart houses on planet Earth. They're looking for homes with that wow factor, and we were proud to share 5G Home's wow factor on the show. So, here's the programming note. Grab your remotes, your TV guides. I don't know if they still have the paper version. You can catch our Verizon 5G Home segment on Smart Home Nation tonight, yes, tonight, on the FYI network at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we'll have much more on our partnership with Smart Home Nation coming up on an Up to Speed episode tomorrow morning. All right, let's talk a little bit about Citizen Verizon now as we tap our feet to the rhythm of Global Citizen Live. Quite a few big stars taking the stage across the globe, as did our own Verizon stars, of course, all for a great cause. Hans took the main stage with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel star Rachel Brosnahan and reiterated how Verizon has committed $3 billion to economic, environmental, and social advancement. We also saw that Diego was on hand as well, catching up with some V-teamers that were able to attend the concert live in New York City. Once again, big congratulations to our teammates who helped to make Global Citizen Live a world-changing, unforgettable event, all part of the message behind Citizen Verizon, of course. Once again, today's live guest is none other than Mr. Craig Silliman, our Chief Administrative Officer and Interim HR Lead, here to discuss the latest developments in our COVID-19 response. Craig is here joining us live at our Basking Ridge office. Thank you for taking the time, Craig, and it was great to see you racing there 2 weekends ago.
Thanks, Sandy. It was great to be here. It was great to see you. You know, I'm still feeling badly about myself. It was hot that morning. I was sweating for about a half hour after I finished.
Yes.
You finished in 20 minutes. You didn't break a sweat. You weren't breathing heavily. It was almost like we didn't run the same race, Sandy. I don't know how you did it.
I feel like there was another cone, and I may have just taken the wrong turn, and then all of a sudden I was at the finish line. But I'm glad I did, because I could, catch your finish, but next year.
Next year, we'll run side by side.
Yes.
But, that was a great day. That was so great to see so many people. I got a chance to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in person for a while. It was a lot of fun. It was great energy. So next year, I hope I'll have even more people.
It was the event that, to me, for as long as we've been away, we got to see everybody. Yeah. The energy was palpable.
It was great.
It was awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in our world. Earlier this month, the White House announced that the federal government is developing new rules around the vaccine. There's some requirements there now. Any more details on how those changes are affecting our potential shift in protocols and how we're working?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me here, because there is a lot going on, and I know a lot of people have questions. So appreciate the opportunity to kind of explain where we are and what's happening. So in the U.S. here, the U.S. government announced just recently that they're coming out with 3 new rules around COVID vaccine mandates. Now, the first one applies to government employees, so that's not relevant for us. The second one is that they will be releasing new rules that require companies with more than 100 employees to have either vaccine mandates or weekly testing. Now, we of course have more than 100 employees, so this rule will apply to us, but we really don't know what those rules will say. And it's probably going to be a couple of weeks, if not months, before the US government comes out with those rules. So we're monitoring the situation closely. We don't know exactly what that will mean for us yet. Then the third rule that the White House announced was that all federal contractors must have their employees vaccinated. And that's all employees who are in any way connected to serving a federal contract. And also any employees who are located in the same facilities as employees who are serving those government contracts. Now, we provide a lot of services to the U.S. government, so this rule absolutely will apply to us. And if you look at a place like Basking Ridge or any of our other major hubs, we have a lot of people here who are serving the government customers. So those rules will apply to everyone in these facilities. On Friday afternoon, the government came out with a little more guidance. We know that these rules will take effect, at least currently, on December 8th. So we're working closely to kind of build our plan for how we will comply. Obviously, any new laws that apply to us, we're going to need to comply with, so we're building those plans. But again, we don't know all the details of the rules yet. We're still working through those. So in the meantime, the only thing that's changing for us today is that, as you all know, we had previously announced that we were doing our mandatory return to office as of November 1st. So that's for those of you who are in a hybrid work environment, that we expected you to be working on your hybrid schedule starting November 1st. Given the number of things that are in the mix with the new government mandates and the fact that we don't have those rules yet, we're now pushing that date back from November 1st past the beginning of the new year. We don't know exactly what the date will be yet because we don't know what the federal rules will be, but it will be past the beginning of the new year, and we will give you at least 30 days advance notice before we institute the new date in which we expect everyone who's hybrid to be coming in on their established schedules. So that's the main change, Andy, that I wanted to come and talk to everyone about today. November 1st is now pushed back beyond the new year, and we'll give everyone 30 days notice when the exact date is set.
All right, and of course, lots of changes. Of course, as the world changes, so do we, and we're watching, and we just thank you so much for your transparency, the work of the HR team, of course. So once again, if you're just joining us to that November 1st date, moving past the new year now, I know, Craig, that a lot of these changes here, as we think about it, can shift policies a little bit. Anything top of mind for you?
Talked about the federal rules that we're working through, but there's another thing going on, which is we have a number of our customers beyond the federal government, a number of our big enterprise customers who are requiring that anyone who works on their facilities must be vaccinated. So we have a number of employee groups that we're working with directly where we are working on vaccine mandates because our customers require it. And ultimately, that's the most important thing, is serving our customers. And if that's what they require of us, that's what we need to do. So the two other things in addition to the return to office date is, one, just as of November 1st, a change in the quarantine policy if you are unvaccinated. That's now unpaid time off. And then again, there's some specific groups, if your customers require it, we are working through some vaccine mandates with those specific groups.
Yeah, and Craig, I wanted to make sure that we clarify here, a lot of these changes, of course, we're dealing with, of course, what's happening at the White House. So these are for U.S.-based employees. And so what's the plan for international?
That's exactly right, Andy. And as I've said, this is the U.S. government. This is happening in the U.S. Internationally, as has been the policy all along, any changes we will communicate with you on a country-by-country basis. The rules are different in different countries around the world, and so we will continue to communicate to you the specific rules that apply to you, the protocols that apply to you based on the country you're in. These things that we are announcing right now are only related to the U.S.
Craig, I wanted to speak to the folks who obviously return to office is something that a lot of us are thinking about, but our field crews, the ones who have been with our customers face-to-face from day one. Talk to us about what we should be thinking about when we think about our teams out in the field.
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know, number one thing we should be thinking about out in the field is our customers. There is a lot of complexity, and Andy, as you said, we're trying to be as transparent as we can be. We want to share what's going on, any policies that are changing. You know, right now, today, those policies aren't changing. We want to give you a heads up on things that may be changing, but today, things are the same that you've been working in the field all along. Focus on the customers. We're heading into the fourth quarter. It's an incredibly important time for our customers. We want you focused on those. So we'll continue to provide this transparency, tell you policies that are changing, or now tell you things that may be coming down the pike. But right now, same policies that you've been working under continue to apply. Focus on those customers and serving them.
Yeah, and I know this is these are fast-moving pieces. These are complex topics, and certainly at the end of the day, a lot of personal choices are at stake here, Craig. So thank you for your transparency, and of course, we'll continue to share and talk about these updates and policy changes. I wanted to talk about, I know you've been working closely with our HR team, of course, and let's talk about Work Forward. As you mentioned, the last time we were together on Up to Speed, we talked about how Work Forward is different from what we just talked about here. So tell us about how we're moving forward with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people conflate the COVID response and Work Forward, and as you said, they're two different things. COVID response, I hope, is a period of time that we've been going through, but Work Forward is the way that we take what we've learned through this whole process and figure out how do we work most efficiently and where we are most efficient. How do we figure out what work is best done in one environment versus another? And the process has been fantastic. We've now trained almost 90,000 employees around the company in over 48 countries. People have been getting their badges ready to come back to work. And so the Work Forward process continues to move forward. We've given you the tools. We continue to give you the tools to know how to work in this new hybrid environment. And importantly, although we start out by announcing that you're not required as a hybrid employee to adhere to your schedule until into the new year, reminder, the offices are open. You know, we're both here today, Andy. I spend several days every week here. The offices are open. If you've gone through your Work Forward training, if you've got your badge, you're welcome to come into the office. It's not mandated yet, but come on in. There's a lot of great stuff going on, and I'll tell you, every day that I'm here, I just love the interactions. I love having time to spend with people one-on-one. You know, the cafeterias are open, the gyms are open. It's a chance to kind of do a whole bunch of things in the office environment. So Work Forward is moving forward at pace. We've gotten the training. We've given all of you the tools. You have access to the office. Make sure you go through the Return to Office tool. It's a good process to learn because it's going to be really important once we have far more people back in the offices. So just go through that process. It's a really easy thing. You know, download the Foods app that the real estate team has developed. Right after this, I'm gonna order my salad and on the app and go pick it up. We have all sorts of tools to book a desk and book a space in the office. So Work Forward has moved forward really successfully. I'm really proud of the real estate and HR teams that have worked through it. The office is here. We're ready to welcome you. Come on in. As long as you've gotten your badge, you're welcome to come in and work.
And I love that you made that distinction. We are talking obviously about some short-term things as well as some long-term things. Work Forward sets the stage for what's happening way past, hopefully, when we turn the corner on COVID. So thank you for that. Again, I want to get your final thoughts here. I know I threw a lot at you here, but just some reflections. And I know there's a lot to really think about, and hopefully folks will check the replay here, make sure they get all the information. Of course, you'll be back on Up to Speed. But today, just wanted to know what's on your mind.
Yeah, so the final thing is, we've talked about what the U.S. government is coming out and mandating, and that's a thing we'll need to comply with. But this shouldn't be just a discussion about compliance. It really is a discussion about us. I will tell you, the very most painful message I ever get is a message that we've lost one of our colleagues to COVID. And I wish I could say it never happened and never happens, but it does. And it happens more frequently than I would like. And it's painful because sometimes that was avoidable. And I've known people recently who have contracted COVID, and it wasn't that scary of a thing because they were vaccinated. And so maybe they felt a little poorly, but it wasn't ever life-threatening. And we know that almost all of the people who are being hospitalized right now with COVID are unvaccinated. And I think back to one of those powerful Up to Speeds I think I've seen was when you were on after you contracted COVID. And I know you pretty well, and I could see it in your face that you'd been through a lot. You were haggard, you looked tired, and I guess, I would throw it back to you. Given at that point you didn't have the opportunity to be vaccinated, if you had a choice, would you want to put yourself through that again?
Yeah, that was a tough time, to say the least. This was I contracted COVID early November, a little after Election Day. I had just moved to New Jersey. And in one sense, I was really glad that I was alone, because for most of the pandemic, I was with my mom and my brother, and to be away from them and having it happen, great. But at the same time, my immediate thoughts were for the people that I had potentially been around, or my family. If I was asymptomatic at the time, what could have happened? And then, of course, beyond that, just the physiological toll that it took. It was 2 weeks of hell, to say the least. And when I think about those days, I'm so thankful that I was able to recover, but I also think about all the V-teamers who reached out to me after that conversation that we had on Up to Speed, sharing some of the great tragedies in their lives around COVID, losing loved ones, wondering if their spouse or mother or brother was going to get through it. And at the time, of course, in November, there was no vaccine available. To know that we have an opportunity here and a tool here that can help prevent and minimize that it is a powerful thing. So beyond how you feel about what this represents, I think at the end of the day, we as a V-team, we think about each other in a way that just goes beyond being coworkers, you know, and protecting ourselves is really, it's more about protecting everyone. So hopefully, you know, that message, we think about this on a personal level. I know it's a very personal choice, but to keep that dialogue going and to think about, you know, just how lucky a lot of us are to be able to have access to the vaccine and really have a team like yours, Craig, that the HR team was there from day one, and hopefully those tough messages we can minimize. For sure, but thank you for acknowledging.
Well, it's so powerful, Andy, and it is a personal choice, but I hope that there will be as few people as possible that our HR team will need to have to be there to support, because as many of us get vaccinated as possible, you know, talk to your healthcare provider, talk to the people around you. You do it for your own safety, do it for those you love and for those who love you. Ultimately, this is about all of us being as safe and protected as we can be. And the science is clear that the vaccine is the best way to do that. So, Andy, thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Craig. And it goes back to what we talked about in the very beginning here. I hate to mention the 5K. No, I know I did not run it, but what I loved was the energy there, to be around people. And we know that part of that is because we are able to turn the corner, because so many of us believe in protecting ourselves and protecting each other. And hopefully that continues. And that energy we saw at the 5K, we will hopefully see here soon. But we really appreciate your time, Craig.
Andy, thanks so much.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
And of course, you'll be back on Up to Speed, I'm sure.
I look forward to it anytime.
Absolutely. All right. So Craig and I are going to hit up the Foods app here, grab that salad. But we thank you so much for starting your week with us here on Up to Speed. And until next time, you're Up to Speed.